Hello, it's James Brown back once again with more on interesting media going ons. You may have noticed what just happened in the last couple days. A massive, and I mean absolutely gigantic deal between Fox and WWE went down for $1 billion for WWE's B show. So, if you're not familiar with WWE, Raw is generally their flagship. It's been around for about 20 years and 20, maybe 25 years. And SmackDown has been around for about it's approaching 20 years itself. I believe SmackDown premiered at the end of the last century. We're talking 1999 on UPN, while Raw has been around since the early 90s. And what Fox did, what after closing a giant deal with NBC to keep Raw on USA, Fox swooped in and closed a giant deal for SmackDown to move it on to Fox Broadcasting Network, which shocked some folks. Didn't really shock me, and I'll explain that for a couple reasons. And there's been rumors about Fox being interested in WWE and bringing WWE to the Fox Broadcast Network for about a year. And if you look at Fox's actions over the last year, it starts to paint a clearer picture of why they would want WWE and other live broadcasting on their network. First of all, they sold themselves off to Disney. Whether Disney actually gets them completely is unclear at this point. Comcast swooped in with a bigger offer, and that's still being worked out. But what's clear is that Fox is selling a giant chunk of itself off, along with a lot of its capabilities, its entire library of content and its production studios and numerous of its cable channels, including FX, which is well known these days for shows like Atlanta, off to someone, whether it's Fox, whether it's Disney, or it's NBC. That's unclear. But in that deal, what was crystal clear is that either the Murdochs chose not to sell Fox or they could not sell Fox. Now, there's arguments for both. You would argue if you're selling yourself to Comcast, who owns NBC, or to Viacom in CBS Corp, in that whole mess, who owns CBS, or you're selling yourself to Disney, as the deal was confirmed, who owns ABC, you might run into some massive antitrust problems. Getting that deal through to sell one of the big four networks to the other big four networks is tough. Even with this FCC, which seems to be very, very lenient for non-Trump opposed media companies in their plights to get larger, and I'll go into some of that at another time. But it's clear that Fox unloaded a lot of its own capabilities. It back in the day, it was all the rage to complete the circuit, to create the content, to produce the content, to air the content, and to take the long tail effect of the content. So like the long tail profits, like Fox is still benefiting from Married with Children. They're still benefiting from Cops. They're benefiting from The Simpsons, not only because it's airing on Fox at this point, mostly at a loss, but they're still benefiting from all the ancillary value. And it was once the model, and still is to a certain degree for other media companies, to create an entire circuit where you control the content from its birth to its death, and you profit off it at every start. And if you look at how media companies were built over the 90s into the aughts, even this decade, you saw these companies get larger and larger and larger. So Fox decided last year that we're going to pivot. We're going to get smaller. And perhaps they've come up with a new idea. Now, whether it's necessity, and we can't sell Fox Network and nobody wants it, so we got to come up with a plan, or it's a grand idea, is unclear. But this appears to be the idea. We're going to double down on live sports. It costs a massive amount of money to develop shows. Most won't work. We're watching the number, not the hut number. So the overall number of people watching TV and watching streaming and watching video like this right now is actually going up, if not at minimum staying the same. But the people watching network TV, the averages for network TV are dropping like a rock and continue to drop like a rock. So what Fox is choosing to do is, hey, we know that if DVR is killing commercials on most of shows, most scripted shows across TV, why not just counterpunch? It's kind of the idea behind ESPN pouring money and tons of money into live broadcasting. If it's live, you can't DVR it, or you can DVR it, but it just doesn't have the same effect. Most people, when it's live programming, most people will want to see it live. If they don't watch it live, they will not watch it at all. On TV, that is. They'll watch clips, but they won't watch it all. And clips don't help your ratings, and they don't help you sell ads. So if you're these networks, you're in a bind. And Fox said, fuck it. We'll just reinvent ourselves. So that brings us to WWE. So the thing that makes it so appealing is that it literally runs year round. There are no weeks off for the WWE. It's insane that it's structured that way, but it is structured that way. So for 52 weeks a year, they're guaranteed 2 hours of broadcasting. That's live. And it's live at a number that, in this case, on Friday nights, that they're going to get already. So it's like, we can get that same number 52 weeks a year and sell ads on it 52 weeks a year. Or we could spend roughly the same amount of money or money. Well, I'll back off there. Probably less, to only cover 22 weeks a year plus reruns. And reruns, it will get you less ad dollars in most cases to fill our schedule. And most of those shows won't work. And we'll constantly have to develop more shows. So either continue to develop more and more shows, that most of which won't work, or we can replace it with stuff that people will watch anyway, and that we could have a consistent ad number and a consistent rating for. So Fox is pivoting to sports. This isn't the first pivot. I mean, NBC has pretty much stopped programming Sunday night. ABC stopped programming Saturday night a decade ago. Fox has pretty much stopped programming Saturday night also. They're airing either football usually or baseball or UFC. It makes sense that if you have the opportunity, why not surrender another night to live programming? These are dinosaurs. This is the end of the broadcast TV age. So you have to reinvent yourself to continue to stay profitable or to become profitable. That's also why Fox overpaid for the NFL. While it looks like an overpay right now, much like Fox's Sunday afternoon package looked like an overpay back in 1992, 93, 94 when they bought it, it's not going to be an overpay in 5 years. When those are the only things that are consistently getting audiences of 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 mass on broadcast TV, I'd rather have more than that than to hope and pray that another pilot breaks through the noise. Actually think it's pretty shrewd what they're doing, and I'm planning on doing a deep dive on it in the coming days and weeks. Fox is reinventing TV. It did it once, and I think they're definitely doing it again. For now, I'm James Brown. A good you good night.